Very good morning to all of you. This is Nitz, the ESL trainer from Frankfurt Institute. I hope you all are doing well. So today we are going to discuss some general questions with friends which we definitely need to ask when we are chatting with our friends or we are meeting them after a long time. So anyway, so these would be some general questions that definitely you ask your friends, but we'll not just be learning how you can ask them, but we would also be learning how you can respond to those questions in a new way or maybe using some new words. So let's go ahead and get started. So coming to the very first question, which is how are you? Or you can say how's life sailing? So this is a very common question that we generally ask from all of our friends, whomsoever we meet. If they are known, if they're unknown, we generally ask these questions from our friends. And how do we answer them? How do you say? So it comes automatically. How are you? I'm fine, thanks. So you can also say, it's always a pleasure to see you. The other person should feel that, yes, there was a person who said that it was a pleasure to see that person. So, saying something different in those simple questions, answering them, those simple questions in a way where you can leave your signature. Yeah. So let's move to the ways in which you can respond to this question, how are you? So you can say pretty good. Instead of saying just I'm fine, you can say pretty good. Or you can say couldn't be better. Yeah. Or we have the other options where you can also say can't complain. Okay. Or, if you're too happy that day, you can also say on cloud nine, how are you? Over the moon. Or if you just want to say, you're just living your life, and someone is asking, how are you today? Oh, well, ducking and diving. That means you're living your life. Okay, you're just going with the flow. Then we have another one which says fit as a fiddle. How are you? Fit as a fiddle. That's amazing. Okay, next one and the last one on this list is I'm hanging in there. So this is usually used among common friends. So let's say there's a friend of yours, maybe you met that person after so many days, or maybe uh, you know after a long time. So if they ask, how are you? Oh, just hanging in there. So that's another way of saying that you are doing fine. So, there are so many ways to respond to this question. I don't expect you all to remember everything, but if you could just go through them along with us, you would be able to at least remember 2 to 3 of them. I'm sure you can do it. Let's talk about the second very common question, which is how's the day so far? So, if we meet someone, maybe not by the end of the day, or maybe in the afternoon, maybe in the evening. So this is generally we ask. So how was your day? Or how is the day so far? So you can, yeah, it's awesome, or maybe it was busy. Yeah. Or I have also added one line there that I have completed many things on my list. It's awesome. That's amazing. Um, Now, talking about the very next question, which is slightly linked, the response is somewhat same to the question, where if someone is asking you, how was your weekend? And how do we respond? It was fantastic or amazing. How was yours? Now, whenever someone is asking you, how are you? How was your day? How was your weekend? So guys, it's very important that we also ask that person how they are doing. Or if someone is asking how was your weekend, you should also be first answer that, yeah, it was fantastic. How was yours? So the person feels connected. Person feels that, this person is listening to what I'm saying. The person is respecting what I said or what I asked. So it's very important for you to drive a healthy conversation, that you to ask the other person the similar kind of question, that how they are doing. I hope you got my point. Now, these are the list of few power words that I would suggest you all to have a look, where it says, for example, how was your day? How are you? How was your weekend? So, and we want to give that rosy picture of our weekend, of our day, and you can go ahead and use these power words to give that explanation. You know, you don't have to explain much as well. If you just use these power words, it is all done. So, for example, how was your weekend? It was wonderful. You know, the other person would feel, yeah, I'm sure it was something good. Or it was fabulous. Okay. Or, and then maybe someone is asking about maybe you went somewhere, to maybe to a wedding, maybe you went for an outing. Well, how was it? It was outstanding. Okay, how was the show? It was superb. Yeah. And then how's the work going? Well, it's terrific. And so again, exciting is something related to fun. So for example, you went on a weekend to some place. So you can definitely use this word. You know, how was the weekend? It was exciting. How was work today? It was exciting. Or maybe anything that involves fun, you can use this word to describe your experience. Then you can also say incredible. Okay. How am I looking today? Well, you look incredible. Okay. Um, how's this dress looking? It's lovely. Okay. How's that building? Oh, it's magnificent. Okay. And anything which is good, which you want to express yourself, saying that it is looking nice, it is looking good, or it is looking very good, to express yourself, you can use these words. Then we have stupendous, again, which means great or very good, or you can say perfect. So guys, to make yourself sound perfect, I would advise you to use these words in your conversation on a daily basis. They will instill a lot of positivity in you and the other person who's listening to you. Okay, then we have another question, which is, what is your hobby? Or what do you like doing in your free time? So maybe I love cooking and trying delicious recipes. Or I like swimming. Or I'm into traveling, or I'm into paintings. I love, you can say, I love skydiving, or anything that you love. I love reading. Okay. So there are different ways you can express your hobbies in. So, for example, I'm into is something that not everyone uses it, but this is something that would be interesting if you say it this way, that maybe let's say my hobby is reading, so I'm into reading books. No, that sounds great. So that's how you can answer this question confidently. So, guys, as we talked about that word delicious, and we come across this word daily in our lives, so I thought of including some words in which you can describe your daily meals, and you can make your mom happy by describing the food in just one word. You can say, hey, how's the food? It is appetizing. Appetizing is that, it is so delicious that you're feeling even more hungry looking at it. And then you can also say tempting. How was the food at the restaurant? It was tempting. Okay. Luscious. Or you can say flavorful. The food is really flavorful. I had a flavorful meal yesterday at a new restaurant. Or succulent. Or mouth-watering. And then I love this one, scrumptious. Okay. Or yummy. So again, for you, or how I learned new words was, for example, they were many words that I learned in a particular day. So I used to make sure that I'm using those words in my conversation anyhow. So for example, these are the words. I'm not saying you can use all of them, but we have 3 meals in a day. I'm not saying all the 3 meals would be tasty, but at least for the sake of learning, for the sake of using these words, you can definitely describe your meals as appetizing or tempting or luscious or flavorful or succulent or mouth-watering, scrumptious or yummy. Let's come to the next one, which is, do you prefer tea or coffee? Well, I prefer tea over coffee. So this is another way of asking, do you like tea or coffee? Okay. So for example, if someone comes to your home or there's a friend, anyone, this is, I won't suggest with your friends, but anyone whom you meet, we generally ask, do you prefer tea or coffee? Okay, or would you prefer tea or coffee? So that's another way of asking tea. I mean, you like tea or coffee? So we are using prefer for that, which will make you, I mean, and make this question plus make you feel and sound more professional. Do you prefer tea or coffee? Well, I prefer tea over coffee. Now, instead of like, or like I said, prefer, you can use prefer, which is one of the words that I've used in the question. You can also say, oh, I enjoy coffee. Okay. Or you can say, I adore coffee. I adore tea. Or I'm fond of coffee. Now, this is a word that, I mean, people use it rarely. It's fancy. Fancy is another word for like. Would you fancy a cup of tea? Okay. Yeah, I would. I'm fond of coffee. So fond is fancy is again another form or another meaning of like. You can use it in a way saying that you like something. I fancy you can say I fancy dresses in red color, or I fancy the dresses in black color. I mean, whatever you want to say, or maybe whatever you like. I fancy traveling by plane rather than train. So it depends on you how you want to use it, but I've just told you a meaning that instead of like, you can use fancy. All right, then we have this where, again, it's a very common question. Where do you reside? Or where do you stay? Or where do you come from? So generally, when we are meeting someone for the first time and we are not so familiar with that person, or maybe someone has relocated, so where do you reside? Where do you come from? But generally, I would say it's mostly for new people that we ask. So maybe I stay in South Delhi. I'm residing in South Delhi. Now, there are different ways in which you can ask a person that where they're from. So, for example, you can say, can you tell me a little bit about where you're from? Okay. Or you can say, would you mind sharing where you're from? So, this is a very polite way of asking, would you mind sharing where you're from? Or would you mind telling me where you grew up? So, would you mind giving me a cup of coffee? Would you mind giving me a glass of water? Okay. Anything, whatever you want to say. If you add that, would you mind doing that for me? That would make you sound so polite in the front of other person. Or else you can say, where is your family originally from? Okay. Or what's your background? So this is, I would say, not so common. What's your background? And maybe the person doesn't understand that in the very first short. But yes, that's another way of saying it. Or where do you live? Where were you born? Again. So, but I would suggest you to go with, the second or the third one. Like, would you mind sharing where you're from? Or would you mind telling me where you grew up? Okay, and let's learn how you can answer that question in different ways. So the first one says, let's say I'm from India, but my family is originally from uh, Bangalore. Okay, I'm from India and I'm very proud of my cultural background. Then the third one is a bit common, where people say, if they are asked, "Where are you from?" they say, "I was born and raised in Delhi," or "I'm born and brought up in Delhi." So if you want, just to so that you can learn it, you can also say, "I'm born and raised in Delhi," or "I'm born and brought up in Delhi." Okay. "I'm originally from India and Delhi, but I have lived in Bangalore for 5 years." So this would be a bit lengthy. If in case you have relocated to many places, then you can use it. That I'm originally from India and Delhi, maybe, but I've lived in Bangalore. Maybe you're living there for work, but I lived in Bangalore for 10 years. Okay. So, just to make it simple for you, if someone is asking you, "Where are you from?" you can also just simply say, "I was born and raised in Bangalore," or "I'm born and brought up in Delhi," whatever you please to say. Or else, "I'm from India and I'm and this is something for, if I say here, it's not so common among friends, but yes, if there is a friend of yours who is living abroad, or maybe you have some friends who are foreigners. So if they are asking you that, "Where are you from?" "I'm from India. I'm very proud of my cultural background." Okay. Or again, the first one is the same way. You can use it with your friends who are staying abroad, who don't have idea about the Indian people, or maybe the Indian states and cities. So "I'm from India, but my family is originally from Bangalore." So, and just talking to your friends in India, you can all just simply say that "I'm born and raised in Delhi," or "I'm born and brought up in Delhi." It's up to you. All right, guys. All right, guys, that was it for our session for today. I hope you learned something. And yes, so stay tuned for our part two, where I'll be coming up with more questions on your conversation with friends. Then we'll be doing conversation with kids. Plus, I'll be adding different topics to it. And yes, if you liked our video, kindly do like, subscribe, and share. Apart from that, I hope you would have a wonderful day ahead, and I wish you all the best for your English learning journey. Thank you.